And we are live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You are joining us for when's the last time we streamed? It is the Christian Anime Podcast. I hope you're all doing very, very well on this fine Saturday morning here in the Australian continent. And I hope you're all having a lovely Friday evening for those of our American friends joining us. I have had, it's been super busy. It's been super busy, but it's been good busy. At least I've been working. At least I haven't been just yapping and staying around. I'm happy. I'm happy. It's good. It's good. Work is good. Read in Ephesians, right? Ephesians chapter 4 or 5, I think, where Paul writes that if you once stole, why don't you go work? Because work is good. Work is a good value. So yeah, it's all here. We're getting people coming in. Hello, Paleon's Remnants. Hello, Pterodactyl Man. Welcome, welcome. Hello, John Boom the Gamer. This morning, I'm always shocked. I am always shocked and surprised when our content reaches certain people who I wouldn't expect one would reach. Let's just say that. So we're going to react to a video first. There's a few things. There's a few things we're reacting to and responding to today. But first, let's take a look at this video. Welcome, Stinging Cake. We've got like a bunch of new people today. We've got noobs. We've got noobs. Oh my goodness. All right, let's take a look. If you can't hear it, just let me know. This is the video title is Christian Anime Podcast Has Many Problems commentary, and it's from a channel called the Ephraimentator. Seems like a cool guy. Let's just say that. Are you annoyed of all the high school DxD ads all over YouTube? I'm annoyed that it's all over my anime list. So there you go. You're less new and have more inconsistent viewing. Well, that's disappointing, Stinging Cake, because that means I probably won't remember you. So there you go. All right, we're taking a look at this video. I was notified by this by, I think it was Eccentric Ed Tamar who told me about this. I'm interested to see. Look, I watched like the first few minutes of this, and I was like, I need to react to this on stream. Because if we're reaching like atheist levels, like atheist YouTube levels, kind of commentary, then I know I've succeeded. That's for sure. High School DxD is one of those rare anime that I immediately look at and know it's not something I should watch. Well, yeah, I mean it's pretty common sense. Like this is why like on the for everything when we're talking about what is a Christian anime and what is not a Christian anime, I think it's pretty obvious what is not a Christian anime, right? And it's pretty clear. So there you go. Tristan Mirage, hopefully you'll react to my request. I mean, we'll get to that by the end of the stream. There's so many things. There's so many funny things that we're looking at. It's just like it's too good. It's too good that we've got so much content for the hour. So let's get to it. I'll just turn this guy down for a bit, and yeah, let's any comments in here? From Genesis to Evangelion, and not a podcast I expected. So, yeah, I mean, there you go. That's to be expected from a channel like this. Whoops, I've pressed the wrong button. No, it should be here.
It's been a while since I've been able to say that the video is so fundamentally flawed, it has problems with its thumbnail.
So fundamentally flawed that it has problems with its thumbnail. You know what? I think that is an accusation that needs backing up. That's for sure. From Genesis to Evangelion is actually pretty kind of funny. I want to learn my problems. So just if you haven't watched it, I don't know who it is. Like this person sounds like your average internet atheist. Actually, like you can already see it. You can already picture him. um, but this guy is going to react to my video on Vinland Saga, which I did not expect to do as well as it did. So it's a Vinland Saga video, and it's titled "How this anime disproves, how this anime debunks this objection to God." So what I'm looking for in this response, hello, welcome Reagan. What I'm looking for in this response is I am looking for them to provide an alternate meta-narrative. I think I made it pretty clear in that video, right? That even if atheism is bad because it doesn't provide an appropriate meta-narrative, or it doesn't provide a sufficient meta-narrative for us to reconcile suffering and evil in the world. However, Christianity provides a better meta-narrative. It provides a meta-narrative that actually causes us to go out and it's a good meta-narrative for us to follow. So I'm just arguing it from that perspective, right? Which is let's assume everything was false. Like we weren't able to determine whether or not a religion or worldview, like atheism is a worldview, whether or not it was true or false. If we were not able to determine if it was true or false, the claim is then that let's assume everything is false. Let's assume everything's just a meta-narrative. Does atheism provide a meta-narrative? No, it does not. Christianity, does that provide a meta-narrative? Yes, it does. So that's the argument that I'm pushing forward in that video, in response anyway to evil and suffering. So let's see what this person has to say about it.
However, Christian Anime Podcast provided me one such occasion. The video is called "How Anime Debunks This Objection to Christianity," and as you can see in the thumbnail, it says "Problem of Evil, Debunked." The problem is calling it an objection to Christianity is a tad misleading.
Is it a tad misleading? I mean, no. Okay. So this is complete garbaggio. You can't honestly say that. You cannot intellectually say, to say that this is a no, I got to do the atheist voice. It's like, to say that this is a objection to Christianity is not at all. It's not at all accurate. It's a tad bit misleading, is what it is. All right. My abridged critique of secular ethics: if no evil, no problem of evil, but tons of more problems. For real. Hey, Axiom, we're just reacting to this video, and then we're going to address a few more criticisms. Dude's right, but not in the way he thinks. The problem of evil is a much bigger problem for atheism. Yes. And if he had watched the video, I'm assuming he's watched the video. Like, I hope you guys have watched the video as well, the Vinland Saga video, because I think I did provide it was good enough. It was a pretty good way of like, just outlining it. So I'm getting a ton of DMs from the old Discord, so I don't know where. Okay, cool. That is someone else. Oh. All right, someone's DMing me, and I'm just gonna type no to him. Thank you very much, Pacios, for the $2 super chat. Good to see you back. Have you seen my email? Yes, I have seen your email. I am very, very busy though, so I will get to it when I have time. Like, don't expect a response for like on that reading list. Don't expect one for maybe 1 to 2 months, unless I buy this for my I buy one of the books for this holiday. And then I read it on my holiday. So let's just say that.
Given the argument was started by Epicurus, who lived several centuries before Christianity even existed.
All right, whoa. Okay, centuries even before Christianity existed. Now, note this, that let's say, like, our worldview, like the Christian worldview, assumes that it has existed for a very, very long time, right? We assume Christianity has existed for all of eternity, right? Because we are the continuation of like Judaism, right? Judaism, or Old Testament Judaism anyway. Modern day Judaism isn't a proper, it's an insult to Old Testament Judaism. I'll say that. But Christianity, where's what's the period Epicurus is from? So Epicurus, date, like, so 300 BC, and then Israelites, Abraham, Bible, estimated date. 2000 BC. There you go. Allegedly. How long ago did Abraham live according to the Bible? 2000 BC. So there you go. Christianity took over philosophical problems, issues from previous traditions. This is just basic intellectual history. For real, for real. Well, I told you I was going to give you the money to buy all the books, so you can buy all of them and have them in your library and read them as you want. How can you do that for me? So I cannot ask you to PayPal them to me directly. We're finding a way. All right, just note that I've had to take down the Ko-Fi for a bit, because I didn't want to be receiving donations that way. I'm not sure how you can give me the money. Let's just... You can PayPal it to me, but I'll just have to send you the thing for it. So there you go. I literally just started watching Vinland Saga 1 yesterday. Didn't finish it though, due to some stuff. Well, I hope you do eventually see it. So is he saying you have a bad response to the problem, or is he disagreeing that it is a problem? Well, we'll see. We'll see. So just note here, I just wanted to get this out of the way. So Epicurus, 300 BC. I think he's trying to make it out, hundreds of years before Christianity even existed. Well, it's only, like, even if you were to say, like, it's only 300 years, and note again, like, assuming, like, our religion says that, claims that it has existed since at least 2000 BC, right? Because it's a continuation of Old Testament Judaism. So, there you go. Well, we'll get to it. We're only 30 seconds in, guys. Let's take a look.
And things get even more incorrect as the video begins, because now he's referring to it as an atheist argument.
It is an atheist argument, though. Like, what other... Like, that's the only thing... Like, okay, because if you look at any other worldview, right, every other worldview has a response to the problem of evil. Atheists usually cite the problem of evil as a reason why Christianity is false, or why at the very least a theistic, all-loving theistic God cannot exist. And most worldviews and most religions do have a response. There's a reason why I'm going to very, very nitpicky on this, but it's basically because, like, this is how you have to, like, we're only 40 seconds in, and there's already so many false assumptions in one argument. We're just going through them bit by bit. What about throne wish list? I am thinking about that. Not right now. I'm a bit busy, so I can't really do that. So yeah, dude is making the genealogical fallacy in a really weird way, for real. So yeah. Yep, that's all good, Pacios. Yeah, sorry, not right now. I am super busy, so I hopefully will find a way to do it. So yeah.
Specifically.
So there's this alleged problem that... why am I so loud? Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm way too loud. Let's bring that down. Let's bring that down a little. Oh, yeah, I don't like hearing myself talk so loud. Atheists have concerning the existence of God, and that is the alleged problem of evil.
But the problem of evil is just an argument against an all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-loving God.
All right, no. He's just like, he's really getting, like, in the... I think if this is his whole problem, like if this is his whole video, it'll be pretty funny. I'm gonna be pretty chuffed. That's all it is. So yeah, he's pretty mad, isn't he?
It's not an atheist argument because its conclusion is not that there isn't a God, but instead that there isn't one that has all three of
Oh, okay. So he might not actually be an atheist. He might actually just be a polytheist or whatever. I mean, I'm open to that idea. He could be claiming that. I haven't actually. Let's see. Does he claim to be anything other than? Because I mean I can read this right. So his YouTube description says just your average gay commentator who likes talking about politics, cartoons, and LGBT topics. And I mean. Well, it looks like he's an atheist. So I'm just scrolling through some of these videos. I mean, I know I'm being very, very nitpicky, so it would be hypocritical of me to say, oh, I think he's being very... I think the channel, the YouTube channel Ephraimentator is very nitpicky in regards to some of the things that he's saying. I mean, by the looks of it, he looks to be an atheist. So, there you go. Just scrolling. Gay like podcast. That's a terrible accusation to level against me, Reagan. Heads up, he posted a link and is sending friends over. Oh, really? He is? That's great. That's fantastic. Like on his Discord or whatever. Remember, our value comes from God, not from the world. For real, for real. For real, for real. Distinction is so cringe. I mean, okay, I know I'm like overgeneralizing it, but I think it's a fair overgeneralization to make. It's not as if I'm saying the problem of evil is a Buddhist argument to me. Wait, let's work this out. I want to work this out through my head. This is his main problem. A friend's Discord. The cat's lair, to be specific. Okay, cool. The problem I have with this is just that it's not a problem at all. I think he's just arguing over the semantics of it, because it is like, okay, it is an atheist argument against Christianity, because it isn't, at the very least, it's an argument used by atheists to debunk Christianity. I mean. No, I was referring to his distinction that the problem of evil isn't an atheist argument. Yeah, like that. It is an atheist argument. Like you cannot tell me with a straight face, oh yeah, atheists don't use this argument whatsoever. So it should be an accurate descriptor to say this is an atheist argument against Christianity. I mean, it could be a polytheistic or Gnostic argument as well. Yeah. But there are way more atheists who use it. Yes. I agree, stinging cake. Yeah. The problem with evil is in the world is because of the devil Satan. I have addressed this in the video already. So I have a very, because I think there are tons and tons of resources already. And do I have a video? Yes, I do have a video coming out on this specifically, which is it's titled "If God Real, Why Bad Thing Happen." That's already available to members, but members for early access. But if you would like access to it, to watch the video publicly, that will be coming out, I think, in July. So it's gonna eventually come out for that. You've met a follower of Ra who used it once. Okay, cool. That's pretty cool. So, yeah. All right.
these attributes. After all, Epicurus was the one behind this paradox, and he was not an atheist. Just check his letter to Menicius if you would like some evidence of that. Somebody who buys into Maltheism, or the idea that there is a god, but he is evil, would not have to respond to the problem of evil, because, well, the answer is built into their...
I mean, is this the whole video? Is this really how you're debunking my thing? I mean, I feel like there were other core tenets. Again, what I was looking for, right? if it was going to be an appropriate response or a good response, at least he should provide a good meta narrative. He should provide, if he is indeed an atheist or whatever worldview he's promoting for, I want him to actually point out a way, right? I want him to actually provide a meta narrative that counters the one that I provide in the video, right? And if he isn't providing a meta narrative, if he isn't actually providing an alternate meta narrative that atheism does actually provide, then he hasn't actually provided a good response to my video, because that's the core tenet of my video. Assuming all worldviews are false and we are just operating on the level of meta narrative, if we are just operating on the level of micro narrative as well, then you need to provide it's either you provide no meta narrative, which isn't good at all because society then collapses without a meta narrative, or you provide a meta narrative, and that is what Christianity provides. The Christian meta narrative is one where you is one where you can find healing, is one where you can find peace, is one where you can reconcile the reality of good and evil in the world. And does atheism provide that? No, it doesn't, because it's like there's multiple different types of atheism, and it can't be a meta narrative if there are multiple micro narratives all warring in the postmodern wars. So that's all it is. People really don't understand God. Your limited understanding of good and evil means nothing. I say. Like, just respond to the argument. For real. This isn't attacking the actual video, though. It's just nitpicking so far. He hasn't addressed the argument. I mean, we are 1 minute 30 in, so... Maltheist seems like one of those ironic atheist troll positions, like the flying spaghetti monster. No, I reckon there are actual people who are Maltheists who are like, that's why they reject God. It's because God is so evil, which is like, it's a, I'm sure this is a real response that some people have. Oh, sorry. I've just realized if there are people trying to raid the stream, it's probably because they're not subscribed, because I've limited the I'm pretty sure I've limited live chat to people who have subscribed for 5 minutes. So I mean, if there are people raiding the stream, we gotta wait a few minutes more for them to subscribe first, and then wait 5 minutes for it. So you know what? That's pretty funny, not gonna lie. So,
belief system.
in a world with children dying of cancer, with wars, famine, and disease, how is it that a loving God can exist in the midst of so much evil?
It's not just that your concept of a god is loving, it's that he's also supposed to be all-powerful and all...
Whoa. Oh, wait, actually, no, I don't actually address this in the video. Yes, this is addressed in the other video. Okay, so, sorry, if I apologize, everyone, because there are certain things. You know what? I still think the Vinland Saga video by itself is still a good video on the basis that it argues from meta narrative. So yeah, we'll just wait for that. To put aside your misunderstanding of divine justice, did you just argue Goes does not exist because he is mean? Connell and Donald by Lutheran satire. So yeah, for real. Welcome, Natsu. Hello, Sonic Gaming. God bless. This video was after April Fool's, so I understand why he found it. Oh, really? No way. Okay, cool.
Knowing. If he was all-loving but was not powerful enough to stop evil, that would be one thing. And for those curious, this is not the route he goes down in this video.
Yep, because I go down a different route for it, because there are already tons and tons of responses for that. Like, there are very good responses for it, actually. And if there are very good responses to the problem of evil, not done by me. This video was very specifically going down a very, there was another route that I was going to go towards, because I think in Christianity anyway, because there's this, I have adopted certain ideas from postmodernism, and this is one of the ideas that I've adopted, or like have tried to co-opt into Christianity, or I use my Christian worldview to co-opt into this, into the postmodern worldview anyway. So And that one of those ideas is that there is no such thing as the truth, and we only operate based on meta-narratives. So even if postmodernism is true, then that means Christianity is actually even more true. Like, there's even more reason to believe in Christianity because it provides a good meta-narrative. So there you go. Literally, TAG. I think that's the greatest achieved good or something. Was there are good arguments against it. So that's the one. Is the greatest argument against the atheists because they can't argue against it. What is TAG actually, Pacios? Free will is the one I always go to. Free will is not the one that I always go to. So it won't let you send a super chat. Oh, that's rough. It might just be YouTube glitching. I just don't accept the problem of evil. It presupposes utilitarian ethics. So just say God isn't utilitarian, therefore the argument fails. That's good. Day 100 made a vid for you on your channel. Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Cocteau. Transcendental argument for God. Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, we're already 2 minutes in, and it looks like it's just nitpicking, but I want to continue on, because hopefully he does the smart thing and says, oh, hey, this is my meta-narrative, by the way, for... this is the atheist meta-narrative which I'll provide. But if he doesn't actually provide a meta-narrative, then he hasn't actually responded to the video, so...
If it was, I wouldn't be covering it.
When I hear this sort of stuff from atheists, there's plenty of... Sorry, this was me just trolling. This was really me trolling, so I apologize to our atheist friends if I came off as a bit mean, but it's just like, it's funny to me. It's funny to me because I really wanted to make this video with the presupposition that Christianity was true, and in everything that I was saying in the video, that was really what I was going with. So yeah, I will be if you're on the Discord, Cocteau, could you just at me in reaction videos or whatever? So yeah. Things I want to say to them, but due to the nature of this channel, I'm going to respond to this so-called problem of evil by using the anime Vinland Saga to make my point. For those of you who haven't watched it, I am going to offer a lot of spoilers, so yeah, so spoiler warning if you haven't watched it. Actually yeah, if you haven't watched it, don't I'd hate to say to get off the stream, but there's that. So yeah, welcome Maru. Please do be warned. The story follows this kid, Thorfinn. Okay, wait. If this is just recapping what I say, let's hear. Let's just skip forward to a time where he actually is responding.
This is my other main problem with this video. What do you mean by the atheist worldview? Atheism is...
Oh my goodness, that's great. That's great. Of course he's gone that. I mean, if you don't accept that your worldview, that you have an atheist worldview, then that's, you know what? That's fine by me. That's fine by me. It really is, like, once you get into postmodernism, there's no such thing as like you're always going to be influenced or affected by a meta-narrative, or it's your own micro-narrative, right? So just replace meta-narrative with worldview, atheist meta-narrative, atheist worldview, and like it makes sense. Like if you're a postmodernist, it just makes sense, right? It just makes sense that there are certain meta-narratives that you may be influenced by. So there you go. How can someone be so unself-aware? That's not a real world. This guy should read a definition of worldview for real. There is an atheist worldview, but its form is historically contingent rather than based on explicit doctrine/revelation. For real. He proved he's Redditeur with that comment. For real. I mean, if you're pissing off atheists with the truth, good job. Yeah. All right. let's hear his cope. I want to hear him coping that his worldview isn't actually a worldview, and it's just a mindset. It's just a mind. So you mean a worldview? No, 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 no. It's just a no, it's not. It's just a lack of belief. It's actually a lack of worldview. That's what atheism is. It's a lack of worldview rather than a worldview.
It's just the notion that there isn't a deity, or at the very least, that there isn't sufficient evidence of a deity existing.
So, okay. So you may say it's the notion of saying, it's the notion that there isn't a deity. There isn't actually a deity that exists. Okay. Would that notion influence the way that you live your life? Wouldn't that notion influence the way that you go out into the world, go out, and wouldn't it influence your politics? Wouldn't it influence your life choices? It would, wouldn't it? If you are under the belief that there was no God, it would influence you. And now, if you have a group of people, if you have hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands, maybe a couple million people who didn't believe that there was a deity over them, yes, there would be multiple meta-narratives. That's the overarching meta-narrative. There may be multiple micro-narratives in terms of different ideologies and different lifestyles and whatever, right? But that overarching meta-narrative that there is no God would certainly influence you to live your life in a certain way. So for him to say, oh, it's just this notion, blah, 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 blah. It's a lack of self-awareness that your beliefs, what you believe, or your lack of belief anyway, will influence. Like, that's what worldview ultimately means, right? It does influence the way that you live your life. Now you might say, oh no, my atheism doesn't influence the way that I live my life. The way that I live my life is my own decisions. Well, it's all contingent, right? Again, the meta-narrative. It's all about the meta-narrative, the overarching meta-narrative that we're living under. And that's it. That's it. Bro read The God Delusion and thought that was the end of the God debate. For real, for real. I've been working on a massive worldview project for a while, and in my opinion, you're cooking. I am cooking. I always cook. All my videos on this channel are very, very good quality. That's for sure. And I am a very professional streamer. I had good talks with some coworkers on that topic because I brought up how communists have beliefs that are weird if they really are just pure naturalists. I mean, and that's like with Marxism. Marxism is a worldview, right? Which is Marxism proposes a separate meta-narrative. So there's like the overarching meta-narrative of atheism, and then under it spawn subcategories or meta-narratives of, like, Marxism is one of those meta-narratives, right? And then under Marxism, under the umbrella of Marxism, then there's like, you're either a Soviet, you believe in the Soviet meta-narrative of progress, or you believe in the Chinese meta-narrative of progress, or you live under the North Korean regime, which is you live under that meta-narrative. So there are like, that's it's meta-narratives building upon meta-narratives. So that's all it is. That's how I really hope that makes sense for you. Let's put it on the good old Paint 3D. Let's hope I don't dox myself. So I really hope this makes sense, right? Because, like, here's the overarching meta-narrative of atheism. There is no God, or there is no deity, as he says it. You know what? Actually, because we're a Christian channel, let's be biased. Let's be biased in favor of Christianity. So there is no God. And then under that meta-narrative of atheism, there might be one of Marxism. Which is, there's a... what's the word for it? It's not epistemology. What's the word for, like, there's of the end point of history? Let's just say Marxism has an ideal, utopian ideal. Now, note here, I will say that there is, for those of you who know me already, I'm gonna put like Eastern. We're not gonna be mean to the Eastern Orthodox people today, because I would put over like under this meta-narrative. Oh boy, I've made the atheism umbrella too big, because under this meta-narrative of Marxism, there's like the Eastern Orthodox meta-narrative of utopianism as well, and then that intersects with Marxism, which leads to Marxist-Leninism. So there's that utopian ideal of Marxism, and then under the Marxist, but again, right, atheism leads to Marxism, because if you believe there is no God, of course you believe that you can create utopia on earth. If you're not depending on a God to bring you utopia, I'm really strawmanning Christianity here, but forgive me for that. But if you don't believe that there is a God, if you do believe there is a God, you are also believing that God is working through you to create utopia. That should be it. But there may be some people who are like, you know what, we're waiting for, if you're like a rapturist or like American evangelical who believes in that, I mean, that's also possible, right? Which is, you're just waiting for God to bring utopia down to you. But usually you do not have faith in humanity to provide humanity separated from God. You don't put faith in that, because humanity itself cannot create a utopia yet. Humanity by itself is incapable of creating utopia. It needs God in order for us to create a utopia. So therefore, if you don't believe there is a God, that means you are able to at least believe that Marxism, right, which says that you can create utopia on earth, right? There are other things like that would be separate from nihilism. That's a separate meta narrative, which is like, let's just die or whatever. Like there is no meaning to life. We're gonna stay that. So, and then under the Marxist meta narrative, right, there is Leninism, and I just realized there's also Stalinism. And let's say there's Maoism, and then let's just say there's Juche as well, to count that. And then, and again, like this is, it just makes sense, right? It just makes sense that there are overarching meta-narratives, and there are mini meta-narratives, and then there's more meta-narratives depending on which country that you live in, right? Even if you were to look at like individualism, the meta-narrative of individualism, like we are always influenced by all sorts of types of different meta-narratives. That's all it is. You heard Eastern Orthodoxy and you just came running. You already know my argument for it, so I'm not gonna reiterate that a couple of times. So there you go. Humanity can't create utopia. Then how do you explain North Korea? Sorry, I apologize to the great leader, to our dear leader Kim Jong-un. I will now offer myself as a sacrifice to the great leader, because I have clearly not put enough faith in his leadership to create a utopia on earth. So that's all it is. And the socialists, for real. Leninism too. Yes. North Korea's base. Stop it, David McKelvey.
The atheist worldview cannot respond to that situation because, to be blunt, that statement is completely incoherent. He even somewhat acknowledges this later on in the video, albeit he doesn't phrase his point as I would, but it's still better than nothing at the very least. I'll grant him that.
And then ultimately, right, it's just like, once you've admitted that, again, the whole point of the video was about meta-narratives, and once you've admitted that, atheism isn't actually a worldview that provides anything, so why are you even arguing for it, right? Like, all meta-narratives need a justification for why they exist. If you're saying, the atheist meta-narrative has nothing really to offer to the rest of the world because it's not a meta-narrative and it's not a worldview, then why should we be listening to you? Why should I care? Why should I even care what you're trying to? If you don't even have have such a respect for your beliefs, then you know what? It's just no. he doesn't sound as much as like, but he really does sound like your average atheist. It's like, actually, I think that atheism is the best thing to ever happen to the West. It's because we were able to take off the shackles of religion, and we were able to shackle ourselves to our vices. It's like I took off the shackles of religion, and then I willingly chained myself to my vices. It's a brilliant thing. Atheism gives you so much freedom that it allows you to be enslaved to your desires. Isn't this an amazing ideology? Sorry, it's not an ideology, but is it a worldview? No, it's just a belief that, no, it's not a belief. It's just a lack of belief that there is no God. Sorry, it's just, and I mean, I think I made my point. I made my point clear. Atheist might tell you that he doesn't believe in anything, that there's no one atheist answer to this, so I guess you just gotta figure it out by yourself.
A little later, he says,
now, if at any point that if you are an actual atheist... Okay. I appreciate you providing a response. Watching this video, please let me know if I'm misrepresenting your worldview in any way whatsoever. Please let me know in the comments, but just so you know, thanks for letting me know. No, this is my impression of you guys as you angrily type online. The atheist ideology is one which stands for one thing, and that is to believe in nothing.
No, it just stands for there not being a God.
But in doing so, is to believe in nothing. I still stand by that statement. Yeah, it is. Like, if you don't believe in anything, if there isn't a God, then how do you actually find meaning in anything, right? So has the capacity to believe in so many other things, so many other stories, to the point that it can't build up a proper meta-narrative by itself. All right, so this is the first time I've used meta-narrative here. I do want to see if he's able to pick up the lingo here. In order to respond to the existence of evil in the first place.
Because
yeah, I do have ops, for real. They usually replace it with worship of the self, but there are, of course, other things. For real. If you believe in nothing, do you not approve of everything? This is how we get bundle of sticksdom. Yep. If there is no God, there is no point to a moral foundation. Yeah, that's true. To respond to the existence of evil in the first place.
Because that's outside the realms of what it exists to address. You do understand that, right? Of course, I'm not even going into the topic of atheists who reject the concept of evil as you propose it, something which you never even bother exploring in this video.
What does the atheist say in light of all of this evil? In these scenarios, from what I've heard from atheists, is that they can't... I may have not communicated myself properly here. So the approach I've taken with this video, why would you explore that in your video? You can't explain evil, therefore his worldview is superior. So the whole point of this, right? Wait. Let's get up paint. Let's get up paint again. That should be it. So up the... All right. So if I wasn't super clear, so here's problem. That's a bit too thick. Yep. Here's problem of evil. It presupposes that there is such a thing as evil in the first place. Now, let's take that concept of evil. How do you respond to evil? If there is I'm going to say, right, so Christianity says, the Christian meta-narrative says, that there is such a thing as evil. It's not as if we're like it is true that there is evil. However, we have all of these things. You have all of these things to respond to evil, right? Which is that there is a it's for the there are how do I say this without spoiling the new video? You know what? We'll just wait for when the new video comes out. It'll be in July, but I'll go through some of the main arguments for it, the really basic level. So therefore it provides these things. That's what Christianity is saying. What is atheism saying? Atheism is saying, yep, it exists. Therefore, no God. Therefore, no peace that comes from God. And therefore, no healing that comes from God. All right, and I've just realized that I am absolutely blocking it. Right, let's move this way. There you go. So that's what atheism is saying, right? Which is, if there is no God, there is no theistic God. That means there's no peace that comes from that God. There is no healing that is provided from that God. If I was to compare those two worldviews, which one would I choose? In light of, yes, we both agree that evil exists. We need a way to respond to it. Therefore, choose Christianity. Why in the world would I ever choose a worldview? Why would I ever choose a worldview that says no God, therefore no peace, therefore no healing? So I'm just this is why I'm arguing from the point of meta-narrative rather than, is this really true? So the point of meta-narrative is that it's not that things aren't actually really true. Meta-narratives just say that it's technically true, maybe true, but even though it's not true, we're still going to believe it because that's the whole point of the meta-narrative, right? And that's according to postmodern thought. And again, like, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to spot these things when you are a postmodernist like me, or have adopted some postmodern thinking, because you can just see meta-narratives everywhere. You can just see them like building upon society and doing that. It looks like we have the guy here. I find your points nonsensical and easy to respond to. Would love to come on and converse. Well, there are other things I'm busy with today. So, I mean, I don't like... I think what you've provided anyway in this video, I don't think you've provided a good enough response anyway. Because as I said, the whole point of this video, if you're still on, by the way, the whole point of this video is saying it's a recognition that there are things already existing in the world, right? Evil exists in the world. Yep, evil exists, but what matters then is what meta-narrative do we respond to it? And if you don't recognize, if you completely reject the idea that we need a meta-narrative in the first place, then fine, we can agree to disagree. But I think when in the real world, you have to recognize that meta-narratives run everything. Meta-narratives are what run society. Meta-narratives are what build societies. So if you reject the idea of meta-narrative in the first place, you're free to remain individualistic in your thinking, and like that's fine by you. But when we're thinking of what how we're actually building societies, how we're actually building institutions, meta-narratives are the things that underpin all of those things which society is built on. So that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say with that. And I don't think I think the challenge I did put in that video, right, is could you provide a meta-narrative, a coherent meta-narrative from atheism? And atheism doesn't actually provide a coherent meta-narrative because it doesn't have the... I mean, at some point, you do start getting ideologies like Marxism, or there are other ideologies outside of Marxism as well. So Marxism is while I disagree with that meta-narrative, it actually provides one. So there you go. And by meta-narrative, you mean worldview or ideology? Not necessarily. So meta-narrative is a very postmodern term. It's not so much that I reject it, more that I don't think giving you a universal atheist one is possible. And there you go. It's not possible, right? Which is why atheism doesn't really, at least I can say with authoritarian regimes, right? At least I can say with like regimes with the cult of personality that they're at least like something like North Korea, right? At least they've provided a meta-narrative, right? Or something like if we look at authoritarian Russia right now under Putin, at least they provided a meta-narrative. Or in China, they have a meta-narrative for that. Oh, well done, Ian. Good job. So, postmodernism says that truth, the idea of truth, is actually, there's no such thing as truth. Instead, we operate under what's called fictions. A good example to demonstrate this is something like money, right? Whoops, and I've done the same mistake again. So money is an example of a fiction because you can't actually rationalize it. Or like love, that's a fiction that we're operating under. Or things like borders, laws, leadership, right? These are all fictions that the world operates under. And a meta-narrative is a special type of fiction that it's the underpinning fictions that society operates. And there are like very honest postmodernists who do say that, oh no, I've run out of space. Can we wait? Sorry, I can't really move anymore. But that's the whole point, right? Which is you could live under like a Christian meta-narrative, or you could live under one as a result of a cult of personality for whichever leader is in that society. There's a reason why, again, like, and this is why it's really difficult maybe to argue with some Muslims, right? Because they live under a different meta-narrative, is all it is. When we're discussing with people from separate worldviews, they are living under a different meta-narrative. They're living under a different view of what truth is. So therefore, that's the thing with postmodernism, right? Which is, I do agree with, right? Which is, if there is really no God, then there is no way to determine what the truth is, and therefore society does actually work under fictions. However, because the Christian meta-narrative does provide so many good things, we might say, maybe there is something to this Christian meta-narrative that doesn't only make it a good fiction, but it also makes it an actual true thing. That we believe in. And yeah, that's the whole point of it. Technically, as an atheist, you could be a nihilist, a Marxist, an existentialist, a secularist, etc. But even those worldviews, there's significant overlap. There sure is. So yeah. So is it applying the idea to life, treating life like a mere story? Life is the only thing. It's not treating life as a mere story, but it's just saying it's a recognition that your life, like the structures around us, and that includes families, which is why all of these fictions, and this is how you co-opt Christianity into it, right? Which is just like, this is why ultimately there is only one true meta-narrative, and that meta-narrative is Christianity. All of these meta-narratives will eventually fail, right? There's only one meta-narrative which continues on and on and on and on and on. So, yeah. And Ephraim Amator says, I believe statements can be objectively true. And I would say not under postmodernism, because they're like you can't actually determine what is true. And which is what, yeah. So this may be to our Christian friends, this may be concerning. This may be concerning that Podcast Son has outed himself as a postmodernist. But as I said, I think postmodernism is the most beautiful invention ever, because in postmodernism you find that it contradicts itself so much that you're able to co-opt Christianity into it. And currently, like, that's one of the other meta-narratives that the world is living under. It's the postmodern meta-narrative, right? So those are the sorts of things. So from my postmodern, I'm going to take off the Christian mask for a second. I'm going to put on the postmodern mask. And I'd say, no, you can't actually determine what is objectively true or not, because there are different micro-narratives and there are different lived experiences which may not necessarily agree with your version of the truth, right? So there you go. That's all it is. That's all I'll say that. Truth is a delusion in postmodernism. And yes, that's true. Which is then it molds together. Postmodernism is cringe and self-defeating. Yes, but you have to like, this is the world that we're living under, right? One of the suggestions that this is what I said in the Chosen video, right? Which is why it's really it's important for us as Christians to understand it. It's because this is the meta-narrative that the world is living under, right? Which is one of my problems with the Chosen, taking the postmodern perspective, right, is that media and reality have mixed together in a way which is absolutely unbelievable, right? The fact that people genuinely watch something like Chernobyl, and then they base their whole perception, their perception of reality, right? Their perception of reality is based on something which is so constructed, which is so hyper real, that that's the way that they come to the truth. It's not by researching. It's not by reading a book about Chernobyl. It's not by like actually going to Chernobyl and maybe listening to some of the witness testimony there. But the fact that they watched a movie, they watched a motion picture which is in itself biased and so constructed that they would base their whole perception of the truth on that. That's one example of where postmodernism is just so around us, right? The fact that we're willing to take for face value what is on the media, what is on our screens, and then meld that into where media and reality just meld together, right? It's just all over the place. So yeah, you can think the hyperreal is a good description, but if postmodernism is true, no, okay, wait. So this is all I'm saying, right? I'm just saying, like, even if assuming that postmodernism is true, that means Christianity has to be true. And I will make a video eventually why how I come to that conclusion. But those are the basic precepts there, right? Which is like, if postmodernism is true, everything's under meta-narratives. The postmodern meta-narrative doesn't actually provide a good meta-narrative to live our lives, but Christianity does provide a good meta-narrative to live our lives. Let's live under the Christian meta-narrative, and then once we are living under the Christian meta-narrative, there we can find what is objectively true. There we can find an objective God, right, who is able to bring peace and love and kindness to us. Who is able to forgive us for our sins, who is able to change us through the work of his Holy Spirit, right? Yeah, that's the whole point. You cannot be a Christian without believing in objective truth. Without truth, you cannot believe in sovereign righteousness and just God. Co-opting Christianity into the philosophies of man is folly. Sure. You can agree to disagree there. I'm just saying that this is the world that we live in, and yeah, I will make a video at some point, kind of explaining how I've done it. But truly, it really is. Truly is, right? If postmodernism is true, then Christianity is true. Like that's the only logical explanation for it. and it's good. And that's a good thing for us because most of the world is currently operating under not only the atheist meta-narrative, but it's also operating under the postmodern meta-narrative. So, yeah. Objective truth is Christ, yes. You can't just use postmodernism as a way to tear down false ideas without blowing your own hand off. If postmodernism is true, then nothing is true, including postmodernism. Okay. We're going to leave that discussion there and there. I'm assuming this video, we'll just continue on for the rest of the video, but I will eventually state out a thesis why, if postmodernism is true, then Christianity is true. So that's that will be the big video, the big video eventually. So yeah. Come up with a story which is deficient in dealing with the existence of evil in our world.
Okay, what are these atheists saying? And for that matter, who are they and why do you feel this way?
All right, cool. I guess it's just like, I would love to watch till the end of the video. Do we want to just watch the conclusion? I feel like I've addressed maybe some of these points already.
Are you going to give us any examples to back up your point? Of course you aren't.
In my view, no, wait, this was the perfect way to do it. Wait. To be atheist or to possess faith in Jesus Christ are simply two different ways of responding to the existence of evil. It's not that the so-called problem of evil disproves Christianity, because this alleged problem still exists. I do want to see what his response is to this worldview.
But atheism doesn't propose an all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-loving being who could theoretically stop evil before it even had a chance to exist. That's the key difference you are not understanding in this video.
They still... Well, and then at this point, right, but if atheism doesn't provide anything, right, it's just like, why should we follow it? I'm just saying. You also can't say the world operated under the atheist meta-narrative while also saying there is no atheist meta-narrative. Yeah. Jesus said he is the truth. He also said he is the way and the life. There is a whole verse about it, yes. I look forward to it, but you're wrong. Evil is only a problem if you think there's a way to stop it. I'm gonna rejig my mind so that I'm going back to podcasts on who wrote this ages ago now. Now, my whole point is, right, the problem of evil isn't actually a problem, right? It's just there is a reality of evil. You either respond to it in the Christian way or you respond to it in the atheist way, and the atheist way is usually deficient. That's the whole point. Have to provide some kind of response to evil. And also, I don't if I see free will one more time in the comment, I'm gonna start banning. I say this trollingly, but if I see the free will response to the problem of evil is I'm not saying this because I'm biased in my more Calvinist beliefs, right? I'm just saying it's not a very good one, because then you would say, oh, why did God then allow? Wouldn't God know? Wouldn't God know then that providing his creatures, his created creatures with free will was a bad idea? So like there's so many problems with the free will defense. It's just, I don't like using it because there are better defenses to the problem of evil, which will come out in the video in July. So yeah, this video purely was it was addressing some of the points, because that's what the thing that Vinland Saga does is that you can see Thorfinn in season 1 and Thorfinn in season 2, right? Thorfinn in season 1 embodies, right, the atheist response to evil, right? Because if there is no God, then what is there stopping Thorfinn from just going absolutely insane and just following, like being enslaved to his desires for revenge and anger, right? Thorfinn season 2 then has a completely different response because he has been listening to certain Bible readings. There's a brilliant scene of it, and I'm pretty sure I cover it in the video as well. Like, that's the response. That's the other response that you can have. You can bring forgiveness. You can find peace in that as well. through the Christian meta-narrative. So that was the whole point of and that's how I was able to bring Vinland Saga into it, because you could really see those two responses, right? The atheist, or the one that was like, there is no God, I will be enslaved to my desires, or there is a God, I'm going to be influenced by the Christian meta-narrative in terms of how I respond to evil, right? So that's all of Vinland Saga just discusses that point, right? Which is like, there is evil in the world. How do you respond to it? The second way is definitely the better way to respond to it. So you can address the problem of evil without all of this gobbledygook. I mean, it's a good. I reckon I cook a lot. I do cook a lot. No, I'm just trolling. I'm not gonna ban you guys. Don't worry about it. With all due respect, yes, you can provide that, but you just have to provide a good like articulation of the free will defense, because usually when I do hear the free will defense, it's just so cringe. It cringes. I cringe as a result of it, because it's just there are so many ways to debunk that one, which is why I don't think it's the strongest defense for it. So yeah, free will posting. So yeah, it's so over. It's so over. Being perpetrated around us, and it's usually to the detriment of the people who hold a worldview which is not influenced by God. So again, I do ask of our atheist viewers, what are the stories that you guys tell to yourselves and again, note fictions. Stories, fictions, they're interchangeable. In order to rationalize the existence of evil in our world.
That for a variety of very complicated reasons, I'm not going to pretend like I fully understand myself, people occasionally behave in ways that are abnormally immoral. That's it.
He's ended up as yeah, it's not a good story, is it? I refuse to. I don't want to really accept that story. So evil for which he has faced.
You do know you can be an atheist and still believe there is wisdom in these religious texts, right? Now, by definition, you can't believe that there was a deity behind these texts, but you can still find the stories in them to contain relevant life lessons that would be helpful.
Oh yeah, so Paisios. Usually, so the reason why I'm like, oh, Guru free will. So, of course, we do believe in a form of will. Like, you do have a will, right? But it's not like, it's not, when people use the phrase free will, it's usually in the wrong way, right? So there is such a thing as a will, or there is such a thing. But the reason I don't like saying free will is because like it has those connotations with it, and then people will assume, oh, so you do believe in free will. So yeah. A Christian shouldn't care about stories. They should care about truth. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Maybe I will provide a defense for some of my things. Can I just paint? Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Again, like this is just it's me co-opting postmodernism, right? Postmodernism. Sorry. For those of you who are more interested in how to co-opt postmodernism, there's this thing called metamodernism. It is a recognition that here's our world. It's our world is influenced by meta-narratives. Or fictions. Now, postmodernism would say, these guys would say, whoops, let's put that in green. Let's put that in blue. These guys would say, let's destroy them. Destroy, no, it wouldn't be destroy. Let's dismantle meta-narratives. And then these guys here, which is, so my proper response would be, so I'm not actually a postmodernist. I would be a meta-modernist, but I take postmodernist ideas. But it's only because I'm taking postmodernist ideas. And there's a couple of masks I put on, right? It's either you put on the postmodernist mask and then you put on the meta-modernist mask. So meta-modernism would say something to the effect of, yes, they're fictions, but I believe them to be true anyway. Whoops. Anyway. And that's how you're able to like co-opt postmodernism, right? Which is, if there is no objective truth and we're only run by meta-narratives, let's look at the meta-narrative which provides the best human flourishing. Christianity is the best meta-narrative for human flourishing, and there you go. That's it. Isn't Jesus real? Yes, it is real. Okay, wait. I'm gonna put on the Christian mask again. Yes, I do. There is some level of objective truth that you do have to believe, right? Like you have to believe that Jesus is a really real person, right? But when you put on the meta-modernist mask, and then when I do talk to people about this, right? When this is a sort of pre-evangelism that I do, that you have to believe in some level at which that we are all operating under a meta-narrative, or we are all operating under a fiction. Now, if your fiction, the fiction that you are operating under has to be actually really good, or else find another worldview, right? You have to find a worldview that actually, or you have to find a fiction that is actually pretty good, right? That's all I'm saying. So there you go. All right. Well, I'm happy with that video. Well, thank you very much, though, Afromentator. I really appreciate it when people do respond to these things, because YouTube algorithm works in mysterious ways, that's for sure. So I'm quite chuffed with that. So thank you very much, though, for making that video. Even though I disagree with most of the things that you've said, you know what? I think you've, under the meta-narrative that you are working under, I think you provided the best response that you could. So I'm okay with that. So that's all it is. That's all it is. All right. So the thing that, if Tristan's still here, we're about to, yes, Tristan is still here. I want to address something which is, I know a few of you criticize me a lot for, but usually when I see stupid comments, right? And I say this in the nicest way possible. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm saying the comment that you put up was stupid, right? So there's this recent one, right, which is this top 10 Christian anime recommendations. And then we have Arcade-chan here saying, I'm sorry, but this is a really misleading video, an excuse, a distraction, and stepping away from your relationship with Christ. I wouldn't call myself a strong follower of Christ, but I know this isn't right. Okay, cool. So usually when I do see stupid comments like this, you know what, it makes me laugh. Like I love reading comments, right? Because it's just it's entertainment to me, right? It's just like whatever people say in the comments, I'm just like, it makes me happy. It makes me really happy to see comments. And when I see, like, I got a good laugh out of this one, actually. So that's why usually ones which are really, really good comments to post up, I do post up. I screenshot it, I post up, and then my I'll explain some of my snarky commentary up here, but I say, like, I would like to publicly apologize to Arcade-chan, who is clearly the sole arbitrator of right and wrong, and in response to receiving this very insightful comment, I will be deleting this channel. And that's meant to be like a joking way to, or like a sarcastic way to really demonstrate why I don't like stupid comments in the first place. It's because like I would prefer, like, some of these comments, they do actually provide a good response to it, like they actually attack the argument for it. But when there's people like this who don't actually offer like what should I do then, like what should I just delete, like, because is that what these guys commenting, do they want to just me to leave YouTube and delete my channel and do something else, right? That's the that's my that's the questioning in my mind. Now usually if you do post a comment, you want you want people to see it, right? If like this is one of the things, right, which people are like, I know this is actually, let's see, where is it, here we go. I don't really agree with the comment, but I don't agree with the name and shame either. Now, is it name and shame to repost a publicly available comment? A comment which people obviously wanted people, like if you post a comment on YouTube, you want people to see it, right? Is it such a bad thing? Is it such a negative thing? Is it such a harmful thing to then repost this comment with some snarky or quirky commentary? And I don't think that that is so, right? Like, obviously, it's just, I know some of you are like, I don't feel comfortable with this, but why don't you feel comfortable? Like, actually articulate why you don't feel comfortable with this. Because, like, in my mind anyway, if you've posted a comment, wouldn't you want people to see that comment? And if you are saying something that is really, really silly, you should, like, there is a way that I do it anyway, which is I don't usually respond to comments as well either. So I don't usually respond to comments unless they're like people who I know or have been on the channel for a while. The reason why I don't usually respond to comments is because it's like it's taking time out of my day to like not only read it but comment on it. This way, right? The way I'm doing it right now, I'm making content on the community tab, and that's like, at least I'm not like taking time out of my day to invest in like typing out a really long response, maybe them continuing to argue in the comments, and then I'm gonna continue taking time out of my day to respond to comments like that. So yeah, that's so the only way that I've done it really is either like sometimes I do provide a good response, maybe like when's the last time I did that, I can't remember. But that's the whole rationale behind it, right? So now there are some like really yeah, here we go. There was this guy he must have been really, really triggered to write a comment like this, where he said, "You continually act smarmy and post this passive-aggressive nonsense towards others, including this person who was incredibly milquetoast. Don't be surprised when the community hammers on you and nobody cares." And the thing with this guy as well is that I'm pretty sure he's dog whistling as well, because this is the Romanian bundle of Stixist logo transimposed over someone. So he's also definitely dog whistling as well. So I don't want to hear I really don't want to hear it from a guy like him. So yeah, let's just read this. Let's continue to read this. I feel like it's more about the tone of the comment, something foreign. Even so, if it bothered them that much, have a conversation in private instead of immediately jumping to this. Say your piece to somebody's face like a man, not like this passive-aggressive mockery. It's unbecoming of a Christian, and it's not necessarily like, again, like if you are saying something really silly, you are posting your comment. You gotta put the comment. You obviously wanted it to be publicly available. I'd be more concerned, right? If I was posting DMs, call me out, guys. Call me out. That ain't the right way to do it, right? But if it is a publicly available comment, I don't think it's that big of a deal. So yeah. Because honestly, you could have had a moment to uplift this person and strengthen their faith. All you did was show that you're more willing to be petty than edifying. If you profess, it is literally your job to sharpen iron. If you profess Christ, it is literally your job to sharpen iron with iron. Just press translate. Oh, is there a translate button? Oh no, there is. Whoops. Bro, he didn't do anything wrong. Someone said something stupid and he responded with sarcasm. And I think that and this is the other thing as well, right? Is sarcasm edifying? I would say yes, it is edifying, because I think you need to be, if you are posting stuff online, which is not like you haven't thought out very well, if we're not taking you seriously, obviously you need to rethink what you're posting online as well, and maybe you shouldn't be on an online space either. So there's all it is. Jesus called a woman a dog after all. Yes. So it's like, if you're saying, oh, sarcasm isn't edifying, I would disagree. There are tons of places where Jesus does use sarcasm towards the Pharisees, right? So it's not like it's not as if I'm like, it's not a mockery, right? It's not like a mockery of what they've said. Rather, I'm posting the silly thing that they said. Hey, maybe don't post this again, and you should probably think about what you're saying first before I take you more seriously. So yeah. There's a few things. Yeah, it could be a bit harsh of him. Harsh of me, sorry. But yeah, that's all it is. No. Women aren't dogs. There's a particular woman, the Syrophoenician woman, who Jesus said, the whole point, right, was that his purpose was to come to the Jew first, right? He came to the children of Israel first, and then he said it's not for the dogs to I can't remember the wording of the verse, and I'm not going to butcher it right now. It's not for the dogs to come to him first. And then the woman says, yep, could you, but even so, can't the dogs like eat up the scraps from the bottom? And that's why Jesus heals her eventually. So yeah. Jesus was doing it for a particular purpose. Yes, it's not because he's a chauvinist. It's because he's doing it for a particular purpose. All right, that's it for today. We're already almost 1 minute 20. Goodness gracious me. Anyway, I hope you all have a very blessed rest of your weekend. I'm about to go do big things. Big things are happening on the Discord, so if you haven't joined that yet, please do. And there are big changes coming if we are moving for it. So thank you very much, though, for every single one of you who have joined the stream. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your evenings. For our American friends, for those of you on this side of the Pacific, I pray that you have a good rest of your day. Enjoy the weather here in Perth. Oh my goodness, it is bright and sunny. So go forth and go do the things that God wants you to do today. So, so yeah, see ya.